Happy Thanksgiving, upper school community. This is Mike, and we are on Thanksgiving break by the time you hear this. And as we were thinking about it, I wanted to get together with Jordan Heckelmann and talk a little bit about what he's seeing. Jordan, welcome. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
As we break out of here today, I just wanted to have you share a lot of the things we've been talking about over the last several weeks and months. And that is one of the ways you're seeing your upper school students grow. And so could you just get us going and just share a little bit about what you really love seeing at the upper school this fall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are lots of things that I've really loved seeing this fall, and I could spend our whole time talking about a variety of those things. But one thing that really stands out for me this fall on the academic side of the house was the opportunity that I had to observe a Socratic seminar in Mr. Foley's Honors American Literature course where the students were discussing the Crucible, which is one of, my favorite texts from when I studied or back in my high school years. And it was an incredible opportunity to see our students wrestle with some really challenging topics and to take ownership of the discussion, to engage with one another well, ask hard questions, and get to points where they maybe respectfully disagreed with one another.
Okay.
But it was so encouraging to see the level of thought, the critical thinking, the connections, and even the willingness at times for students to reconsider what they were thinking based on what was shared in the class. It easily is one of my highlights from the fall thus far, because it's something that Mr. Foley and I have talked about every year that I've been principal, and to see it for the first time was just an absolute joy.
Yeah, I can imagine. And that's juniors?
Yes. So that's our honors junior English class. And our college prep students read the Crucible as well. And I also had the opportunity to see Mrs. Hanker work through that text with some of our college prep students. And when I did my walkthrough on that day, they were reading through one of what I think is the most critical portions of the play, where John Proctor is debating whether or not he will submit the signed confessional. And it was really wonderful to see how Mrs. Hanker was helping the students comprehend and to think about that portion of the text and think about the value of one's name and reputation. And it's, just a joy to see.
Well, I think through all the different things that have led up to that point, and it's probably not for today, but just, their Bible classes, just how they interact as people, history, even where's this novel fit in American history. This is all built into that. It's really cool to hear.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. And I can imagine across the board, there are many different ways that they're growing. And I think that one of the things that I just, you mentioned a couple of them already, but in your mind, what really sets the upper school teachers apart?
One unique aspect, I think, of all of our teachers is just how they model curiosity and the desire to continue to learn and be humble in what they do. There is a science to education, and some of that comes with having a hard look at and asking yourselves the question of, is what I'm doing effective? And it's great to have conversations with teachers year over year about changes that they're making based on what they're seeing in their assessment data. But I also love seeing the new things that they're doing based on the things that they're learning.
Okay.
I think in particular this year of Senora Eisner, who is teaching a new Spanish 5 class that actually stemmed out of a course that she was taking at Gordon College as a part of her master's program. So one thing that we were finding within our world language program, particularly with Spanish, is that we needed to provide another advanced opportunity for our students beyond AP Spanish, because we have students who are getting to that point by their junior year and they want to continue to study the language. So Senora took a course as part of her program that focused heavily on literature written in Spanish. I mean, looking at poetry, books, all of these different things. And she has adapted that course that she was taking at the master's level to really be an advanced high school level course where our students are reading literature in Spanish, having discussions. And while I never got to that level of Spanish, Senora's perspective is this is taking them a level beyond AP. And there's a greater cultural focus. And, she thinks in a lot of ways this will be more applicable for them if they stick with the language or travel to Spanish-speaking countries, because they'll have a much better understanding of the cultures where they're traveling or seeing. So it's been really fun, though, to see her take her learning, which she was sharing with us last year on the faculty side, and then apply that to our students here.
Yeah, and I can imagine. I mean, she, as a missionary, she was cross-cultural too, and so
Mhm.
she brings that into the classroom as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's amazing. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing that. And I know that our teachers are just really seek to challenge, their students, your kids, at moms and dads, as you're listening, and they're going to walk with them through that challenge, right? I know
Mhm.
some of it's a struggle, and that's where we really see growth happening. Those teachers are first looking for that growth from
Mhm.
your students.
Yeah. And Senora in particular in this course has done, I think, a really good job of walking alongside her students because with this being a new, very high level course, she's
Mm,
having to adapt as
sure.
she goes based on what she's seeing. And she's been just doing an incredible job of remaining humble in this course and being adapting and flexible. And our students who are in the course have done a great job of persevering and
Mm.
adapting to that level of rigor and challenge.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in. We'll go a little off script. As you know, I've been helping out with one of the Ethos EP
Mm-hmm.
courses and watching the students step into that challenge and really wrestle with it and even give us feedback, but really grateful for them. I mean, I have increased respect for your teachers and what they do and for what we're challenging the students to step into and it not always being easy. Let's shift a little bit to spiritual formation. And how are you seeing this year in particular, first quarter? I
Mm-hmm.
know, well, actually now past first quarter, heading into almost through the first semester, just God moving and the students growing spiritually.
Yeah. I think one area where I've seen particular spiritual growth this year is in the area of spiritual leadership. One of the goals that we've been focusing on within the umbrella of our academic vision is better equipping our small group leaders to shape the spiritual environment and culture
Hmm.
of the school. And I was talking with a faculty member last week, and just in passing that they shared that they observed one of our small group leaders who's a senior taking time out of their day, calling their small group together outside of the normal
Huh.
small group time to address something that they were seeing and something they wanted to challenge their group in. And honestly, this is the first time in my time as principal I've heard something like that happening. But to hear that our small group leaders are taking the initiative and leading in that way
Yeah.
is really
Wow.
encouraging. And I know that Mr. Hasty and Mrs. Shoemaker on the small group leader development side have really tried to be intentional about tweaking what we're doing so our small group leaders are better equipped. But at the end of the day, I think it's little things like this that are going to go a long way over time as our students learn and take ownership over their faith as it becomes their own.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit about what's going on, happened today? So we're recording this on Thursday. So, but this is going to actually happen tomorrow,
Mhm.
Friday, and what spiritual renewal, what that looks like at the upper
Yeah.
school.
So each fall, we have 3 days that are set aside, and we call them our spiritual renewal days. They have evolved over my time as principal. Some of that was initially due to COVID. We had some constraints that limited us there. But the way that it's structured now is we have 3 days that are set aside for us to step outside our normal rhythm and routine. We take one day for an extended time of worship and prayer. And this year, we had some members of our altar prayer club, which is led by Miss St. John, lead a portion of that and introduce the practice of breath prayer to the student body, which was wonderful to see. Today, we had Pastor Eve Perodin from Elliott Baptist come and speak on compassionate community. And then tomorrow, we have an extended group time or small group time. But the greatest addition, I think, to that time is for our first time ever, we're doing our Thanksgiving feast, which is an idea that one of our student leaders had as we were talking about compassionate community. And they got to thinking and sharing. It's like, so much community is built over sharing a meal. How cool would it be to essentially do a Friendsgiving was kind of
Right.
the idea leading up to Thanksgiving break as a part of this. And I remember sitting down with Mrs. Sporko and Mrs. Shoemaker and Miss St. John. And this would have been on Grandparents' Day after we just wrapped up the quarter. And they're like, can we do it? Can we do it? It's like, well, if we have student leaders who are bought into it, who have this idea, who see the value of it, particularly on the developing community side, it's
Right.
why not? And, thank you to all the community members, moms and dads who have contributed towards
Yeah,
making
thank
this
you.
happen. We
Thank-
are very grateful for it. But I am so excited to see how the feast goes tomorrow, and then also how that leads into our student-led night of worship tomorrow night. So
Yeah.
it's been a very exciting 2 days up to the point of this recording, and I'm excited to see how the Lord will work through tomorrow.
Yeah, I've just seen that, a lot of your students are really stepping in individually,
Mhm.
but also community into those questions of faith, but how do they live together well in community at a level that I haven't seen?
Mhm.
And we were talking earlier that we see this grow a little significant, but little each year. And it's
Mhm.
really encouraging to see.
It is.
Well, we also know that a lot of their school day is taken up by some really good, challenging, interesting classes across the academic spectrum. What are you seeing in terms of academic growth that's standing out to you from the fall?
Yeah, I think one area that stands out, I was talking to Mrs. Graustein, who this year has stepped into teaching our chemistry courses. And one thing that she's introduced in those courses, and this is true college prep through AP, are inquiry-based labs. And these are not cookie cutter planned out labs where the procedure is outlined from students for start to finish. They're really responsible for some of the planning, the questioning, and then extending that over multiple lab blocks. So iterating on the data that they're seeing, making changes. And she said it's been incredible to see how that has led to them thinking critically, get more efficient with this process, and really dive in and ask some good questions. So that's been really encouraging to see. I've also seen some fun, I would say, creativity by some of our other teachers and our students in other areas that has led to growth. So just the other day, as part of our church history class, which Mr. Dunphy has been working really hard to make more engaging for our students, he actually had the students to help them better understand medieval church history, develop their own monastic orders. So have them develop that understanding, and they had to develop the whole daily rites. If they had a dress, they had to come in with that for the day. And it was really fun to see our students engage with that and grow as a result of that engagement. It just brings a new perspective. But those are two things that come to mind in particular when it comes to academic growth.
Yeah. I think what strikes me is that both invites a level of engagement that really draws from multiple disciplines. Obviously, they're focused on the class that they're in, what their teacher that they're in. And that's just really encouraging to really see our teachers help the students stretch into the challenge. And so that's really encouraging. So we know, Jord, that grades 9 through 12 are years of incredible growth and transition on multiple levels. Just on the academic side in particular, or anyone that you want to take, what are you seeing in terms of one of those grades really stepping into transition? And what are you seeing?
Yeah, I think to speak to our seniors, I have seen them make an incredible transition into the role of being leaders of the school. There really just seems to be something different about this cohort where they are really jumping in, all in, and leading the school, and really are striving to lead the school well in that. I think they're bought into the idea of, hey, we have the opportunity and the responsibility of helping to shape and drive the culture here, while also trying to consider their next steps and where the Lord is calling them. So it's been interesting for them to see them balance those things. And I think one way I've seen that play out is they're considering or thinking through, okay, how can we leave the legacy and hand things off well? And take into account the things that we've learned here as we look ahead to things that we want to do in the future. What are opportunities that we want to pursue, and how can we take what we're learning here and apply it in our next steps?
Yeah, because they have a lot going on in their own lives right now. I mean, college applications are due, making big decisions. But I hear you saying that they really have an eye toward their schoolmates, especially in their grade and the younger grades.
Yeah. And I think I've seen that particularly play out, and I'll put my teacher hat on a little bit, in our leadership class. So for those who don't know, I co-teach a leadership in action course for our upper school prefects with you and Mrs. Sporko. And I'll give Mrs. Sporko a shout out because she does a tremendous job with that group. But, they really have developed a heart for the school. And I would say the same is true with those who are on our student life council. One of the things that Mrs. Sporko stressed with that group was, hey, we really want individuals who are on the student life council to love our school and be invested in our school. And we really see that with the prefects. I mean, I think you and I saw that on the summer retreat that we did. We certainly saw it on the leadership retreat at Brookwoods in the fall. But there's just a level of buy-in and commitment to having an impact here and a willingness to take initiative that is really encouraging. It's really what we had hoped to see when we brought the leadership development program in as a part of our program.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for just affirming that ownership. And I know that when you get started of that ownership among the student body that you really start to see that change the culture in the school. What are you seeing there?
Yeah, I think culturally this year, once again, one of the biggest changes that I've seen is really the buy-in. When I think about homecoming week or even the Brookwoods days, we saw higher levels of participation and buy-in than I've seen in my time here, which is really exciting to see that increase in student involvement and really a desire for our students to be here and be a part of our community. Obviously, there are still areas where I would love for us to grow culturally, and some of that includes, how we approach challenge, how we pursue things that are difficult, and how we embrace that as a positive. But we're seeing that start to happen, which is encouraging, and it's baby steps, but it's just been encouraging to see that shift, and also to see the shift in students. And not that this didn't happen before, but the genuine care that they have from one another, even if it's with little things. I've just seen probably more instances this year of students caring for one another well, which is encouraging to see, especially as we focus on our core value of compassionate community.
Yeah, that's really encouraging to hear. And so just to, spirit of gratitude continuing as we wrap up today, Jordan, what are some things that you personally, as Mr. Jordan Heckelmann, principal of the upper school, father of 4, among other things, what are you thankful for?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm thankful for the Lord and just how he has gone before us and provided us this year, and for how he's been at work in our community. And I'm grateful how he's been at work in the lives of our students in particular, and how he really seems to be drawing them to him. Obviously, I'm grateful to our faculty and staff who are leading so well and are just striving to do the best that they can to form Christ-centered, Christ-like relationships with each student here, and to help them grow and learn. And, obviously we can all continue to grow, but I'm just very grateful for our faculty and staff and the sacrifices they make. And to our parent volunteers this year, they have been absolutely awesome. And to give a thank you to all of those who are helping with the Thanksgiving feast, just very grateful for that. And our student leaders as well. As I've shared already, they have just gone above and beyond this year. And the list could go on and on here, but I'm just very grateful to the Lord, our faculty and staff, parents, students. It's been a really strong start to the year, not a perfect start, but I'm excited to see how the Lord will work through the remainder of the school year.
Well, let me just thank you. I thank you so much for sharing with us the stories of how the upper school students are really growing, and they're such a meaningful place and community that you and your teachers, develop and prepare for them each day, allow them to step into challenging and strong academics, that they get Christ-centered formation in every class, not just Bible class, that they're able to deepen their relationships. And really, I think you said it. I see it as really growing in confidence and purpose. And so to families who are listening in, thank you for entrusting us with your child who is actually at the upper school now, a young adult. And we really do see God shaping their character. We see their gifts starting to really emerge and strengthen, and really helping them grow through this rhetoric stage as they enter into the wisdom stage, seeing that start to play out. And so we know that there are a bunch of opportunities as they grow, and we're starting to really see them emerge. And so let me close in prayer. Father, we thank you for our upper school. Thank you for the teachers and the students. We thank you for their courage in this age. We thank you for their questions and their gifts and their growth. And we just ask for your continued guidance with wisdom, clarity, and compassion. So bless these families this Thanksgiving with rest, joy, and your peace. Amen.
Amen.